If you go back several years, and this is going up something like 8 years, Nigeria was going to take off. The middle class was going to take off. It was going to be easy to make money because you were going to invest in listed companies that made food for Nigerians and home and personal care for Nigerians. And they were going to get richer, and so the companies were going to experience huge growth in sales, and everything would be rosy. The strange thing is that didn't happen. The population has been growing, but it doesn't look as though it's been getting richer. And that's the key thing. Because the investment case for investing in Nestle Nigeria, Unilever Nigeria, Flour Mills of Nigeria, Cussons in Nigeria, depended on people migrating up through the ranks of salary earners and into the middle class. And to the extent that that was going to happen, these companies are going to get rich. They actually scaled themselves for several times the level of sales and production that they have now, and that capacity still exists. But the sales did not come through. The rising middle class didn't rise, and the money wasn't made. And so the investment returns from investments in those companies, with the exception of Nestle, which is significant, have not been as once projected. This is our consumer report, and we wrote it in order to unravel quite a big mystery that had been bugging us for some time. So what's happening is that Nigeria's population is growing. It's growing about 2.5%. The urban population is growing at about 4.6%. So listed Nigerian food and home and personal care companies should be growing at about that rate in real terms, but they aren't. And this has been going on for quite some time. We've actually measured inflation-adjusted sales for these companies going back to 2011. And the companies aren't showing that much growth. Nestle is showing some growth. Flour Mills, Unilever Nigeria, arguably are showing a little bit of growth. Cussons Nigeria is not doing too well. And the question is, if there are more people out there who can buy this stuff, then why aren't these companies doing well? So that was the first question we had to solve. We put together a team, a young working couple. Two of our analysts volunteered to become a working couple on a low wage, the kind of wage we often see advertised around Lagos. They work as a porter and they work as a waitress, and then we paid them a little bit of money and figured out how much they would have left for a household budget for a month. Turned out to be around 30,000 naira, or $83, and we sent them out to outer Lagos, to the markets, to get enough food for a month, enough food and home and personal care products for a month, and we waited for them to come back. They came back with a shopping basket, and the shopping basket surprised us. What didn't surprise us was that 70% of the shopping basket is completely unbranded. What did surprise us was the brands they came back with. They weren't brands made by the major listed companies in this country. They were brands made by unlisted companies. Companies like Bulos, Olam, Tolaram, Daraju, Limex, and these were quite a surprise to us. And the reason they bought them was price. The price points for these products were lower than those of products made by the listed companies. That then began to solve the problem for us. not only are these companies, these unlisted companies in Nigeria, expanding quite quickly, one of them is guiding to 16% growth this year, but some of them are quite new. Some of them have been set up in the last few years. So there clearly is a growing market for food products and household goods if you can hit the right price point. And that seems to be the key. These new entrants and these unlisted companies are hitting very effectively low price points that the larger listed competitors aren't. The background to this really is that if you look at the macroeconomic data, the middle class appears to be squeezed. Incomes of upper middle class professional salary earners have been coming down in real terms since 2015. Unemployment is going up, which suggests that there's downward pressure on wages across the board. So that ties up with what we saw in the street. Price points are the key things. People increasingly are looking for low price, and that's driving the sector. A key question is why the price points of these companies are lower than those of the large listed companies. And that's very difficult to figure out. One factor may be that large listed companies are operating to global standards, and that costs money. Another is likely to be that because they're global companies, they typically have generally a global kind of cost base, and as listed companies they have costs that unlisted companies don't have. So low cost probably means low price point. If you can produce at a low cost, you can produce at a low price point, and that's probably the essence of why these numerous and sometimes smaller competitors are doing quite so well. So one product stands out in my mind as a really clever attack on price points. It's not a very cheap product in itself, but what this product does is it colors normal white rice red without the need to add tomato paste, and then it makes it spicy at the same time. Now, to us that was very smart, because you're creating traditional jollof rice without the expense of tomato paste. So that's just an example of how smaller manufacturers, being very flexible and with good knowledge of the market, are coming to market with products that our analysts are bringing back because they believe that's what a low-income household really wants. With the consumer goods, they found that they really had to pay the price that was being asked, and they made very careful comparisons between the various products in that category, and they generally went for the cheapest one. They also went to nearby supermarkets, but there they found that the prices were generally a little bit higher, and not all the products that were available in these street markets had made it into the supermarkets, which is significant. They stuck to the real task in hand, which was to get into the market, stick to their budget, and come back with enough food and household and personal goods for themselves for an entire month. So we believe that while our research is not comprehensive, it doesn't have a comprehensive account of all the prices in the supermarkets, it does realistically show what a low-income couple is going to buy in Lagos at this time.